Hi there. Welcome to the Border View Farm / XL Seeds / Golden Harvest Field Day Walkthrough Part 2, soybeans. We're going to go through the soybeans. If you missed my corn walkthrough, I just finished that. Check out the video before this one, and you can learn all about Golden Harvest corn genetics that are in my plot. We're going to go through the beans here now. I don't have nearly as many soybeans as I did corn, so this will go a little bit quicker. And to be honest, I don't know that much about them because most of them are brand new genetics. So I'm going to rely on the notes that I got from my agronomist pretty heavily, and we'll go through and talk about them and what I've seen and what looks good and what doesn't. And yeah, let's go. So one thing to note when we're getting started talking about beans is that we have several different herbicide tolerance trait platforms. And the ones that we have out here are all either Enlist E3s, noted by this, or the fact that it ends in an E3, or they are Extend Flex soybeans, which the sign will say that. I don't have one here. They're down there farther. I'll show you that when we get there. And basically what the difference is, Enlist E3 soybeans are resistant to glyphosate, glufosinate, and Enlist. Now, Enlist is a form of 2,4-D. It's a choline version, not an amine or an ester, so there's a little bit of a difference, but it's a 2,4-D. Glufosinate is better known as Liberty. Glyphosate is better known as Roundup. So you can spray any of those herbicides on these beans, and it will not kill them, where if they were not Enlist beans, it would kill them. The Extend Flex beans are resistant to glyphosate or Roundup, glufosinate or Liberty, and dicamba, or in the beans case, either Ingenia or Extend Flex or Fexapan, I think is the other one. So just what they're resistant to as far as herbicides go, a little bit of a difference. It seems that in the Eastern Corn Belt, and especially around here, the Enlist beans are very, very popular. There's not a lot of Extend beans planted around here anymore. You go out west, and it's heavily Extend beans or Extend Flex now, and they're the dicamba-resistant ones. The reason, or there's reasons to plant one over the other, but the Extend Max, the Ingenia, the dicamba formulations that you can spray in these beans, it tends to drift a little bit. That's a whole nother video and episode, but there's a reason that we've gone to the Enlist route. It's a safer chemical. It's has less risk with it. So, and it works. It works really well. All right, let's talk about these varieties. 2292 E3 Enlist. What do I know about them? Well, they're a 2-2. That's about the extent of what I know about them. Not a lot, to be honest with you. You can see they're yellowing up. They are starting to mature. They're a little bit of a shorter bean. I don't know if this is actually a thing or it's just in our lineup or if it's just here, but the Extend Flex beans seem to be a little bit taller than the Enlist beans. That can be a good thing. It cannot be a good thing. It just depends on your growing conditions and stuff. But you can see we've got full bean pods here. They're very thick. They're starting to mature and yellow down. Those pods are going to start drying out, shrinking down. They'll turn brown. The seeds will turn brown as we get closer and closer to harvest here. Again, I don't have a ton of information on these. Wade didn't give me any notes on this one because it's too early for most of his guys. But they look good. A 2-2 bean is really pushing it for Ohio, and we are in Ohio here, just barely, but we are. So there's not a lot of them that get planted. I have had very good success with a 2-2 bean over the last couple of years, not this variety specifically, but other ones that we've had in the past. And so I like to plant them because it gives me that real early harvest window, usually around the 20th of September, so we can get some early wheat planted and not be waiting until the first week of October to plant wheat. So that's why I plant them. I don't do a ton, but I've had really good luck with them. A couple of years they've been our best beans, which is just, I mean, as environmental conditions for the year, I think they shouldn't be our best beans, but they do give us a little bit of a risk management and extending our maturity window and our harvest window. All right, next up, 2442 E3, another Enlist. It's a 2.4 maturity. I should probably talk about that. So corn is by days, right? 100 day, 105, 110. Beans, it's maturity groups. We grow anywhere from, obviously, a group 2.2 would be the 2.2 up to a 3.5 here. 2.7 to 3.1 catches the vast majority of them. And I wish I could give you more about how that works, but that's just how they do it. Beans mature based on daylight length or nighttime length, really, not on heat units like corn, so it's just a different way to rate them. We can walk out here in these again, but again, I just don't have a ton of information on these early beans. 2.4. I'm kind of waiting to get the data back to see if this 2.4 or the 2.5 we've got next to it is going to be better. I'm going to plant one of those two. I don't know which one of the two yet. And we got a nice mare's tail growing right there. We should probably go take care of that, shouldn't we? Ugh. Got it. It'll probably be growing there tomorrow. All right, 2505. This one is one of the few, two in the plot, that I have planted before. We have them out in the fields this year. What I know about it is that it's a big, tall, branchy, bushy bean, and yielded really well in the trials last year. I like it. It does appear to have fallen over a little bit, and we got a little lodging going on in this field. I don't think that's going to really hurt us, but you never know. We'll see. I do have some notes on this one. Wade says big, tall, robust plant type, which we talked about. Handles tough, rugged soil. So a lot of times beans will get short, or they'll shorten up on some sandy or clay knobs or tough soils. And that's where you want a tall bean like this that handles that really well. Disease tolerance is okay. It's not great on this. I'm sure that we've got some white mold out here, and doesn't have great Phytophthora SDS tolerance. One thing, this one is an older hybrid. The new genetics that we have this year, or the Golden Harvest Gold series, which I can't believe I didn't even say until now. Both of these two, the 2.2 and the 2.4, are Gold series beans. They tend to have better defensive trait packages, and when I say that, I mean they're better on Phytophthora, white mold, disease, and stuff. So that's something to watch out for on this one. But if it yields like it did last year, we'll probably keep planting it. I like tall beans. We rarely deal with too tall of beans. And so I'd rather have too tall than too short. All right, here is our first Extend Flex beans, 2562 XF Extend Flex. So this has got the dicamba tolerance and glufosinate, which is Liberty and Roundup trait. They look good. They're also tall, and they also have a big rugged plant type. There's just not a whole lot I can say about beans, guys. They are quite bushy and branchy for 30-inch rows. They're very difficult to walk through, but they do pod up really nice. They look good. Not turning too much yet. Not as much as the Enlist 2.5 over there. So we'll see. Yield data is going to tell us a lot on the beans. All right. 2610 E3. This one I do have something unique to talk about on it. So one of the biggest pests that we deal with in soybeans is soybean cyst nematode. It's a little tiny nematode. It's a cyst nematode, not a free-living nematode, given its name. But it attaches to soybean roots, and it will suck the juices right out of them. Can be a devastating pest if you don't control it. We have several ways of controlling it: through seed treatments, through resistance genes, through just plant tolerance. Most of our beans have one source of cyst nematode resistance. It's the PI 88788 resistance. This 2610 has something different. It is a Peking cyst resistance source. It is industry leading. It is as good as it gets for field tolerance of cyst. So if you have soybean cyst nematodes and plant a 2.6 bean, this is a great one to plant. The problem is it doesn't quite have the top end yield potential that some of our other beans that don't have that Peking gene in it do. So where I don't battle cyst nematodes, this isn't the right option. I have better ones. But where I do, this is going to be the best bean that you can plant. So typically sandier soils is where you're going to see cyst nematodes worst. That's where this one's going to shine. I don't have sand. All right, now we're getting into the important heavy hitter beans in our lineup. So 2722 XF, again, this is a brand new bean for next year. This is a Gold Series Golden Harvest bean, and this is an Extend Flex. I'm an E3 guy. I want to plant E3s. I might have to plant some Extend Flex because of this bean and how great that they look. Notes from Wade, related to our 2788X bean, which was an old Extend, straight Extend, not Extend Flex variety that we really liked. The problem with that one was it was really short. This one is 4 inches taller. It fixes the short problem, but it yields with it. And that one was excellent yield. It was winning Michigan State's yield trials when it was in its prime there. So if this one is better than that, that is, or related to that, that is a really good thing. What else does he have? Very good Phytophthora field tolerance with the 1C gene, good emergence and sudden death tolerance, nice disease package, and a nice plant size, which I would agree with. I did go out and pull one and stripped all the leaves off it so you can see the pods, and you can see that it is just loaded up, especially in the main part of that stem. But all the way up to the top, there's a 4-bean pod hanging right off the top of that plant. We love to see that. There's another one right there. They look really good. So I like this one. I'm probably going to plant this one. I wish it was an Enlist. It's not. I might have to plant it anyway. All right, so the next one here is 2818 E3. This is the other one that I know and have and plant already. It's a little bit shorter, which isn't my favorite thing about it, but still a good plant. This one was our best bean in 2019. I believe. It had an off year last year, but looks really good again this year. Pretty good pod set on it. Looks decent. Not real super tall, like I said, but yeah, good. This one's kind of that proven, consistent performer thing that it's not brand new, so we know what it's going to do, and it's worth having something that you know in your lineup. 2872 XF. Let me just go through the notes on this first, and then we'll talk about what I'm seeing right there. Extremely high yielding soybean that performs very well on highly productive soils. I would not consider this highly productive, but it is good. It's not great, but it's good. Provides excellent tolerance to brown stem rot and is very good against white mold. Oh, that might be the ticket right there, the white mold resistance. Average field tolerance to Phytophthora. Needs a fungicide to manage white mold. How can it be good against white mold and need a fungicide? I don't know. Wade, what are you doing here? Anyway, put on highly productive acres, use a fungicide, watch it yield. We can do that. Now, I did spray a fungicide out here. I don't consider this super high productive, but look at this plant. This is one plant. This plot was planted 30-inch rows at 140,000, just for reference. I was just looking at this real quick before I started this variety here. I counted 8 4-bean pods on this plant, and I didn't look that hard, but I tried to count them all. There's one right there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's gonna be more than 8. 8, 9, 10. Oh, that one would have been 11, but it aborted one. 11. 4-bean pods. 4-bean pods are awesome. We love 4-bean pods. If you get 3 or 4 on a plant, you're doing really good. There's 11 of them on there. Would have been 12, but one of them lost 1 seed in it. So really, really good looking bean. That might be better than the 2.7 down there that I wanted to plant. These Extend Flex look great. All right, 2922 E3. This is a new Gold Series Enlist E3 Golden Harvest bean. Outstanding emergence. Better than our Rockstar 2818 down there. Okay. Good Phytophthora genes, in-field tolerance, excellent SDS, sudden death syndrome, resistance, poorly drained soils, brings Cadillac disease package to the table with great yield. That's saying something. And Wade writes, I have a lot of confidence in this soybean. That says something to me as well. Provides 2.5 bushels over 2818 in testing. That's a lot. That's a very, very high number. 2.5 more. So honestly, the plant that Brock picked for me here doesn't look as impressive as the 2.8 Extend Flex right next to it, but we'll see. They're very high on this bean. It kind of got the short end of the stick in placement. There's a little bit of a draw right here where some water ran and then it turns. So that may affect its performance in this plot, but we'll watch it in this one and the neighboring plots and see how it does. All right, so the name of the game on this 3192 XF is plant height. It is extremely tall and it's showing it here. Lodging can be a concern because of its height. These beans are up to my chest here, and they're standing well right now, but something to watch for as we get later. It's kind of more of a thin bean. It doesn't get quite as bushy, although these are 30-inch rows and it filled them right out. But tall, loaded from the top to the bottom with pods, looks fantastic. Yeah, I'm impressed. Again, I see a numerous 4-bean pods on there again. So something to watch, look at, but if it's not too tall, which again, I like tall beans, it looks like a good one. All right, Golden Harvest 3132 E3. We're back in the enlist beans. Tremendous soybean bringing Cadillac disease package. So it has very good Phytophthora resistance. It has good sudden death syndrome resistance. And what else? Excels on clay-based soils. Well, we farm clay, so this is a good one for us to look at. A little bit more of a thin bean like the last one. Not quite as tall, though. Looks good. I think Brock is being biased in what he picks and brings out for me here. But out in the field, I mean, look at them. They look fantastic. All right, 3392 E3S. S is STS resistance. That's, yeah, we don't need to worry about that too much. This one here has nice yield potential. It says, I like to see it placed on highly productive soils, which is surprising to me because it looks like a really tall one, which is usually not what we place on highly productive soils. Good against SDS and frog eye, white mold, and Phytophthora. I don't see any white mold here, but it's out here, so I'm sure that we can. Yeah, there's some. We got a dying plant. So just because it's good on white mold, like I said, it's not the end-all be-all. Neither is 30-inch rows, but hopefully it's not too bad. We had some major white mold issues about 3 or 4 weeks ago we were finding, but it hasn't gotten worse, so I'm happy about that. Dry weather will do that to you. Place on highly productive soils, managed with a fungicide, and it will yield. That's what I know about it. All right, 3442 Extend Flex. This is the bean that they tell me if you can plant a 3-4 bean in your Extend Flex, you need to plant this one. It has won 91% of all head-to-head trials against our current lineup in our testing. That is an extremely high number. 108% of trial averages last year. That's also, you gain 8% on our trial average. That's impressive. Frog eye gene is very good, broadly adapted to many soil types and environments. Bushy plant type, good standability, good SDS tolerance, has Phytophthora field tolerance, and a 1C gene. Watch out so that it can shorten up on really tough soils, and it's a slower emerging variety, which means you can't plant it super early into cold, wet soils, or, you know, March. And it doesn't look that short to me here, so shortening up a little bit may not be the worst thing in the world, but something you want to watch, and probably not put it on super tight sands. Honestly, looking through them, that 2.8 Extend Flex bean probably looks the best of the ones that I have seen here. This 3-4 looks really good. I'm not afraid to plant any of these, except maybe that 2.6 Peking bean. That's the only one that I wouldn't plant out of the whole lineup. So I'm still learning them. We're going to learn a lot when we get into harvest here. That is the last of the variety trials. I know I probably didn't give you near as much good information on these as I did on the corn, and quite honestly, it's because I haven't gotten that data yet. There's so much new here that I don't have as much experience with the bean lineup as I do our corn, because it turns over so fast. But nothing about any of them gives me any reason for concern. So again, if you're looking at some beans, or you need somebody to talk to about Golden Harvest beans, let me know in the comments or send me a message, and I will be sure and put you in touch with somebody that can help you. So we do have a few agronomic trials in the beans like we did in the corn. Just 2 different things out here, and we're going to show you as best I can. But I have a population study that I think you guys are going to enjoy. this should be pretty impressive. I planted a bean at 60,000 plants per acre, 100,000 and 140,000 plants per acre. And we're gonna pull one from each and show you how much of a difference that looks like right now. So this is the 60,000 trial, and they are so bushed out and branched out that I can barely walk through them. I mean, just a mat of beans, and I don't know if that's just lodging or what. Probably not great, but I mean, what do you do? They're planted at 60,000. How much? Well, how do I get them to stand? I mean, they're just loaded with pods too. Look at these things. Incredible. They look fantastic. Let's pull. So here is what one plant from the 60,000 looks like. There's a lot of branches, a lot of pods. They look super impressive. It's got a really thick stalk to it there. And yeah, looks fantastic. I've been joking with people that says it's going to take a chainsaw to harvest these because they're so thick of a stalk on them. The next pass here is at 100,000. Brock got me a plant from those, and not nearly as much branching, but doesn't look bad. There's still a lot of pods. Look at that cluster right there. Wow. So we'll see. And then the next one here is at 140,000. I should have done one much higher and you would see the difference, but they're just thinner. There's, one main stalk instead of 3 or 4 branches like the other one has. And so that's a thing that we've been talking about in ag for a long time, is that you don't have to plant super thick populations in order to get good yield. In wider rows, even lower. 60,000 is extremely low. Like, that's really pushing it on the low side, but it seems like it's going to work out this year. The issue is when we get a situation that we have poor emergence conditions. We get a rain right after we plant, and we get crusting and stuff. And if you lose a bunch and you only planted 60,000, you don't have any room to lose some at that point. Where we plant 140 or 160,000 like our normal, we lose a few. It's not the end of the world. So that's why people are pretty hesitant to cut back that far, but I think it's doable. All right, I doubt we're going to see much difference in this next trial. And the last thing we've got going out here, I did a sulfur trial. There's been a lot of research done with putting sulfur on soybeans. So when I planted these, I did them with the corn planter, and I had the starter system on there, and I just put on some straight ammonium thiosulfate, which is 26% sulfur. 120026 is the analysis on it. And we have 10 gallons to the acre of ATS on this strip, and we put 20 gallons of ATS to the acre on the last strip down here. I did this last year, and on the high rate we saw over 6 bushel gain versus none. So I'm quite curious to see if we see that again, and if we do, it's something we need to look at pretty seriously about putting some sulfur in with our soybeans. So that's the soybean plot. Once again, if you guys have any questions and comments, make sure you leave them down below. I'll give the same sales pitch that I did here as I did on the corn. If you are anywhere in my remote area and you are interested in talking about Golden Harvest seeds, whether that's corn or beans, send me a message, shoot me an email, Google search me, whatever you got to do to find out how to get a hold of me. And I would be happy to talk to you. If you're not from my local area and you're interested in this stuff, I'm more than happy to put you in touch with somebody from your area and help you figure out how to buy some Golden Harvest soybeans, corn, whatever it is. Oh yeah, Brock just reminded me, don't call my parents' house. Please don't do that. Anyway, Golden Harvest has really good stuff. Our bean lineup, most of these new beans, the proprietary are proprietary beans. They're exclusives to Syngenta or to Golden Harvest, and they're not something you're going to find in other companies' bags. So there's been a lot of licensed beans in the industry, and admittedly a lot of ours in the past couple of years have been licensed as well, as we've jumped to different trait platforms and stuff. People are buying their genetics from other companies, putting them in their bag and selling them. We've done that. We're not doing that as much anymore. All of the Gold Series Golden Harvest soybeans are proprietary. They're better defensive package. They're developed for the areas that we sell seed in, and they work and they look fantastic, and I'm excited to get into harvest and try them. So again, everybody has good stuff. I'm not knocking anybody else's seed companies, brands, products, anything. I'm just saying that what we have works. And as long as you know the person that you're buying seed from, you trust them, and you take the opportunity to look at their plots, to walk through this stuff, see it for yourself, figure out what's going to work on your acre, in your farm, in your situation, in your weather patterns, that's how you set yourself up for success. And it takes a knowledgeable person working with you in order to do that. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed these. I know they were a little bit different. We'll get back to more normal stuff tomorrow, I hope. And yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know how much you want.